I needed to come up with a method on how to paint tank tracks, so I watched a few tutorials. Night Shifts was great, but I didn't have most of the stuff he used. And then I saw Andy's hobby headquarters and he used pigments, which I actually have several. Those other videos had their own ways of doing things, but I'm taking a different route. I'll be using a bunch of pigments from rust reds to earthy browns, and honestly, the way these tracks turned out is worth sticking around for the whole video. Is my method better? No, it's just what I had lying around and I had to make it work. Most videos use pigment fixer. I have some, but I never liked how it was applied or looked afterwards. So a while back I started using matte varnish as my binder instead, and it works out great. This method can get messy and kill a good brush, so don't grab the cheapest one at the dollar store, but go for something a little bit above. Any pigments from any brand should work fine. I'm using MIG pigments for this. I'll show you how I mix the pigments and then I'll let you know exactly what I'm using as I go. It's pretty simple. Just add the pigment, then add the varnish, and then mix with your brush and begin to apply. I airbrushed a dark gray based on those videos I watched, but honestly a rust color would have been so much better. It hides all those hard to reach crevices on the tracks. I wouldn't have had to spend so much extra time trying to get this into those areas. I'm starting with the middle rust tone, not the darkest, and then I'll hit the deepest areas with the darkest rust. At least that's the theory. Spoiler alert, I nailed it. Since these are pigments mixed with wet matte varnish, they do dry like dry pigments. Oh, that was a goddamn tongue twister. But they look different and a bit thicker. If you try this, definitely test first to see if you like it. These are workable track lengths for my KB2, and as I was doing this, I kept losing pin after pin, and I only got like 9 left. Oh my god. Doing this got me thinking. Rust color base coat is good, and my King Tiger has one, and I'm not too happy how these tracks came out. So as I do this video, I'm going to do the same thing to these tracks, and I'll show you the result at the end. This method is really easy to do, and it'll go really fast if you weren't filming it, but that's okay, I wanted to show you. Just keep applying the color until you're happy with it. You can even dry brush it over the cleats and leave the other areas closer to the base. Here I'm using a stiff bristle brush to remove any clumping or any of the areas where I don't want pigment. It works out pretty well using this brush. I got this at the dollar store. Make sure to clean your brush often. Pigment builds up fast in the bristles. Now I'm applying the darker tone over the first layer, but I'm not covering everything. You want some of that first color to show through to give it a nice layered effect. I use a stippling motion to work the pigment into the tracks. It really helps to get that color into all the cleats and recesses. Once that second color goes on, that's when the magic starts to show. I'm using Vallejo matte varnish here, but I've also used Liquitex matte medium. It works just as well. Really any medium will do. You can even use gloss if you're going for a wet, muddy look. I can't wait to get these on the KB. They're really going to make the whole model pop. Honestly, I might have to step up the top half just to keep up with the tracks. I've actually used this method before on some of my Hot Wheel customs. I can't even remember where I first picked it up, but I'm trying to keep it alive by showing you how I do it here. I'm not gonna lie, when I added this next tone, I had a Bob Ross moment. Bob, you finally done it now? Yeah, I thought I ruined it. It looks a little rough, but in the end, it dried down just fine and actually added a lot to the final look. You could probably skip this lighter rust tone or just go with a slightly darker one instead. Like I said, it turned out fine, but this shade looks more like rust you would see on an old static tank, not one that's constantly on the move. Would I use this method for my ghost tank build? Probably not. I'm thinking more of a range from black to gray shades for that one. You'll understand why once you see it, so hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. With each pigment shade, you want to cover most of the track, but leave spots where the previous color shows through. As long as you hit an area lightly, it should blend in just fine. Now, the final wet pigment I'm using is Russian Earth, but for your model, pick a color that fits your theater. Something European if that's where your tanks will action, or if in Vietnam you would use a more reddish color. The final wet layer is where the tracks really come to life, adding dirt, dust, and rust peeking through. Sure, you can do this with paints if you have the right rust colors. I didn't, and only had enamel ones, which can sometimes damage tracks. The hawk is at it. So definitely check if that applies to you before diving in. This step is where you decide how much rust you want visible. If your tank's mostly static and on display, go heavy on the rust. If it's always on the move, stick to dirt and dust. You can also start building up mud and dry dirt here. Just add more pigment and then layer on products like Vallejo dry mud or ones from the AK for a full effect. My KV is set in Russia, driving through winter wheat in the snow. I'll be adding snow effects to the tracks, but not just yet, since I need to figure out how to do the wheat first. Still, I think white pigments will be perfect for snow buildup when the time comes. This method isn't just for tracks, you can use it for dirt buildup all over the tank, wet to dry with different mediums. I did this on my Mudman Custom, no links please. I'm officially done with that project, but it was fun while it lasted. So here we are, the tracks are done, but you can take this method further if you want, adding that final dusty, dirty look to really finish it off. So grab your dust pigments and paint the town red. Well, the tracks. Well, not red. Dusty colors. I'm using these dry, but hey, try it wet if you're feeling adventurous. I'm using a makeup brush to dust the pigment onto the tracks. With dry pigment, you can add and remove it to control buildup. You might need a stiff bristle brush to get into the deeper crevices. Once this layers on, you'll need to fix it in place, but I haven't gotten that far yet. Spraying matte varnish with an airbrush should do the trick. You can try Pigment Fixer too, but definitely test first. And that was the hawk. Now I'm just brushing off the excess with my makeup brush. There's one final step left, and it can take a while. The final step really brings the tracks to life. I'm using a Winsor & Newton 6B graphite pencil to highlight the edges of the cleats. And just when you think you're done, bend each cleat to catch even more detail. This step is a lot of fun, watching the tracks start to shine. You can find these pencils at most craft stores. This is where I thought I was done. They already looked awesome, and then I spotted all the areas I missed with the pencil. Classic. So we're back to the pencil. Let's add some more shine. You can add all kinds of wear where the road wheels constantly grind the tracks down to bare metal. Don't forget the sides, like I did, where the tracks rub against anything in their path, and of course, all those little crevices need some attention, front and back. So, here we are, finally done. They came out great. Would I do this for every set of tracks? Not sure yet. I'll give the night shift method a try too, once I add some more life colors to my bench, that is. I think this gives the tracks a very realistic look. Let me know what you think down in the comments. That's it for this one. Big thanks to all my subscribers for supporting the channel. Don't forget to check out the King Tiger results at the end, plus some close-up shots of these tracks. I will see you in the next video. I'm off to vacation in 4 days. Vacation. Alright, see you later. See you in the next video. But don't worry, I worked hard and got like 4 videos up until July in the can.